Hello, class. Today we are going to go over the homework problems here, and I'm going to present you some questions up on this video. Now, there are no um, worksheets, assignments for you guys for today. I just want you guys to understand how the homework was done, so just to check your answers. Now, unfortunately, a lot of these things you have to be responsible and do it on your own. I won't be there personally to help you. So if you have any questions, please ask me. And these videos are meant to be watched and make sure that um, be used as a tool to help you guide through how the lesson's conducted instead of me just talking to you guys in Zoom for about 20-30 minutes or so. Anything that I did on this presentations, if there are any questions that you have to ask me so that so that you can get the understanding of how to do this. Okay, so let's get started with the first question here. It says find the equation of the in the standard form of the line perpendicular to y equals 3 over 4x minus 11 passing through the point 9, 2. If you're wondering which homework this is the homework from 2 days ago. That was from, when was that? Monday. And we were looking for perpendicular slopes given going through the equation. Yesterday, what we did was converting into standard form, right? Slope intercept form. So these are already in slope intercept form for us, so it makes it a lot easier for us to do. The slope is 3 over 4, and so all we're going to do is we're going to convert this into negative 4 over 3. Why? Because we're talking about perpendicular slopes. So y is equal to negative 4 over 3x plus b. I just plug in the slope. Then I look at the points and I plug in those two x and y coordinates accordingly. 2 is equal to negative 4 over 3 times 9 plus b. This becomes 2 is equal to negative 4 over 3. Negative 4 over 3 times 9 over 1 plus b. Now, when you do these two problems, top and the bottom, this becomes 2 is equal to negative 36 over 3 plus b. 2 is equal to negative 12 plus b here. And now if you add the 12 on both sides of the equation, you get 14 for b here. So y is equal to negative 4 over 3x plus 14. That is the answer to the first question. For the second one, once again, what we're going to do is we're going to take a look at that, and we're going to convert it into a negative reciprocal slope, negative 5 over 2 times 2 plus b, negative 3. And so negative 3 is equal to negative 5 over 2 times 2 over 1 plus b. Negative reciprocal slope plugged in, x plugged in, and y also plugged in. And so if we have this, it becomes negative 3 equals negative 10 over 2 plus b. This becomes negative 5. Add the 5 on both sides of the equation, and what you're going to get is you're going to get 2 is equal to b. So therefore, my final equation would be y is equal to, your negative reciprocal slope, negative 5 over 2x plus 2. My final equation here, when it says perpendicular to 1 over 2, flipping this over around will be negative 2 over 1. You first flip the numerator and the denominator, you put a negative sign in front of it. So now you want to plug this in. So y is equal to negative 2 over 1 x plus b. X and y plugged in. Negative 2 is equal to negative 2 over 1 times 1 plus b. Negative 2 equals negative 2 plus b. Add the 2 on both sides, and I get b to be 0. Which means my final equation would be y equals just negative 2x plus 0. Slope plugged in, y-intercept plugged in. Okay, so these are the answers to the question from Monday, and I'm going to go over the question that we have done yesterday. It was a little bit more challenging to do because now we're taking a look at what we call a non-standard form in which what we're used to. We want to convert this into slope-intercept form first, in a format of y equals mx plus b. Okay, so if the way that you do these questions are, you need to get y by itself. So I'm given 7x minus 2y equals 3. The very first thing I must do is that I need to subtract 7x on both sides of the equation. Why? Because I want to get y by itself, and the negative 2 that's being multiplied to, that's the last thing in which what you're going to get rid of. So first subtract 7x on both sides of the equation. You get negative 2y equals negative 7x plus 3. Then you divide both sides by -2 on both sides of the equation. You get y is equal to 7 over 2x minus 3 over 2. Now, if you're wondering how I got that, that's negative 7x divided by -2. That applies to the first term. Plus 3 divided by -2. That applies to the second term. Okay? Now, if we're looking for perpendicular lines here means that it's going to be negative reciprocal. So if it's a negative reciprocal slope of this, that means that I need to flip this around. So I'm going to get 2 over 7, and then I'm going to put a negative sign in front of it, which gets you negative 2 over 7. So y is equal to negative 2 over 7x plus b. This is what we're going to be dealing with. And now what we're going to do is we're going to plug in the points 4 and -1 into x and into y. That becomes -1 is equal to negative 2, 7 times 4 plus b. Remember, multiplying by 4 means you can put 4 over 1 like this. And then so I'm going to get -1 is equal to negative 8 over 7 plus b like that. Okay, so now I'm going to add 8 over 7 on both sides of the equation. So I can get b by itself. And what happens is that b becomes -1 plus 8 over 7. Okay. Now, if for those of you guys who do not understand how to add fractions, here's what we do. 1 is simply just a number, but you can always represent it in terms of fraction. So if we want a denominator to have, let's say, 7, we can convert this -1 into -7 over 7 because that's a form of 1. Plus 8 over 7 equals b. So now -7 over 7 plus 8 over 7, what is that going to be? 1 over 7. Now, if this is just too much for you to deal with, you can always use this and then use calculator, and then you're going to get the value to be around maybe 0.14, about-ish, and then you can use that as your answer. So my final equation would be this, but I'm just going to plug in the y-intercept into the equation. So I'm going to get 1 over 7 here. So this would be my final answer to that question. All right, next, write an equation that is parallel to this and going through that. So now all I got to do here once again is to look for the y value by itself. Subtract 5x on both sides of the equation. 2y equals -5x plus 2. Divide by 2 on both sides. Y is equal to -5 over 2x plus 2 over 2. So y is equal to -5 over 2x plus 1. So parallel lines means they have the same exact slope, which means I'm going to use this slope and say y is equal to -5 over 2x plus b. What I want to do is I want to look for b now. Plug in your x and plug in your y. Makes my math a lot easier to do because -5 over 2 times 0 is just 0. So 6 is equal to b. So my final answer is I'm going to plug this into this equation right there, and I'm going to get a positive 6. All right, last question. Write the equation of the line that is parallel to this and passing through that. So here, -4y is equal to 8x minus 6. Divide by -4 on both sides of the equation, and you get y is equal to 8 over -4x minus 6 over -4. Well, this becomes -2x, and this becomes plus 3 over 2. So that's my equation. But it wants to pass through this, and it's parallel to this equation. So we want to use the slope for that. So you're going to get y is equal to -2x plus b. Plug in your x and plug in your y. So 3 is equal to 8 plus b. Subtract 8 on both sides of the equation. You get -5 is equal to b. So now my final answer, once you plug it in, y equals -2x minus 5. Okay? All right, so these were the answers that I wanted to go over with you. And now I want you guys to try doing some asynchronous work for today. All right, so on this slide, I have some multiple choice questions in which I would like you to pause the video right now and try to see if you can answer these questions. So pause the video and play it again once you're ready. Okay, so for the first question, you have a slope of -2 and +2. Now notice that they are not the same nor negative reciprocal. So you're going to say neither the same, neither parallel nor perpendicular. If you're wondering what the same line is, same line means exact same equation. So if the first equation was, let's say, -2x plus 4, the second equation is also y equals 2x plus 4. That's what it means to become a same line. What best describes the relationship between here and here? Well, if you subtract the x on this side of the equation, you see how the slope is the same. But also, if you subtract the 6 on the other side of the equation, you get y is equal to -x minus 6. And then y equals -x minus 6 on this side as well. So it's going to be a same line. This one, y equals -3x plus 10. If you move the 3x to the other side. This, if you divide everything by 2, you get y equals -3x plus 2. So notice how the slope is the same, so they're going to be parallel. This one would be adding x on the other side of the equation. Divide by -8 on both sides. So I get y is equal to -x over 8 minus 1. Technically speaking, you can kind of see that there's 1 in front of the x. The slope is -1 over 8 right here. So focus on that. And now I want to find the slope-intercept form of this. You get 2y is equal to 16x because you move this to the other side. Divide this by 2, you get y is equal to 8x. Hey, look at that. The slope is negative reciprocal, so they're going to be perpendicular. So we have an example of each. Okay, so 2 more questions to go. Determine if the two given equations are parallel, perpendicular, or neither. Also solve for this. So slope-intercept form, that's the one thing I always want you to find. And then what I want you to do next is after that, compare the slopes. Once you compare the slopes, that's really the key here. If the slopes are equal, they are parallel. If the slopes are negative reciprocal of each other, they are perpendicular. If it's neither of these two things, then you're going to have to just put neither. Okay, so pause the video now and try this question on your own. Okay, so for the equation for the first one, you should get y is equal to -1 over 3rd x minus 1 over 2. If you're wondering how you get that, you move the 2x on the other side of the equation, so you get minus 2x minus 3. Divide by 6, and you get -1 over 3 and minus 1 over 2. This is technically the same thing as saying -2 over 6x minus 3 over 6, but you can always reduce these two fractions and get those two. And then for the second one, you get y is equal to 1/3 x plus 20 divided by 12, which is 5 over 3. So now I have these two equations, and what do you notice? Hey, the slopes are negative. But if it's supposed to be perpendicular, it needs to be negative reciprocal. If it's parallel, they need to be equal, so it's neither of those two cases. All right, last question to go. Determine if the two given equations are parallel, perpendicular, or neither. Now for this one, I would like you to write this on the Zoom chat and look for the equation at the end. And then tell me the answer, whether they're parallel, perpendicular, or neither. Okay, so you have no homework assignments from me over the Thanksgiving. Have a wonderful Thanksgiving weekend, and hopefully I'll get to see you in person next week. Thank you, and have a great weekend.